It's so interesting. So we've had such a year in the market with a lot of layoffs. Like the layoffs have been going on almost a year. I think every employee I've talked to recently has said that they are just distrustful of their employer now because the layoffs really shook a lot of people's lives up. Every day on LinkedIn, you see the posts where people have been laid off for months on end and can't find a job. And it's really hard to see. And I have so much empathy for them. But after an employer has done a layoff, how do they actually rebuild that trust back?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something that I'm grappling with in the book that I'm writing right now. It's not on pre-order yet, but keep an eye out, folks. It's called "Talk to Me Nice." So when my former company had the layoffs, Hebba, no one ever, outside of my manager, no one talked about it. Right? It was like, here's the email, right? We had an email that was sent out company-wide. This is happening. Your manager will let you know which side you fall on this. And then we just kept working. No one ever talked about it. It was just like this thing that, oh, nothing to see here, right? And your colleagues that you're working with day in, day out, you were in the break room birthday party with, they're no longer there, right? And now you sit working with that angst of, is it me? Am I next? Right. And you can't really, again, focus on doing your good work under those restraints. And I often think, had we had a little more transparency, had we had better communication about it, right? Again, even on all staff with the CEO saying, hey, I know it's a tough time, right? But I think the part is that we won't acknowledge. And I think, again, everyone's an adult for the most part that's in the workplace, right? Most of us are an adult on paper, right? And so people, regardless of who you are, a language of trust is transparency. A language of trust is that security, right? And so how do we move past it? We acknowledge it. We say the hard part out loud. But together, this is how we move forward. We give a game plan, right? We assure people. We hold, quarterly town halls, and I think, again, it goes back to the humanity piece. And I'm really focused on the tangible things that get people to say, okay, I understand that it's a tough economy out here. I understand that everybody's trying to figure this thing out, but we're talking about it. We're preparing for it, right? We're upskilling our employees in case they do have to do something different, right? A different job function. And I think, again, it's communication. And I'm suggesting conflict resolution, because here's a conflict, right? How do we resolve it? We can't just pretend that these things and sweep them under the rug. How many more things are we going to sweep under the rug until it's this big mountain that we can't even see our computers get on Zoom, right? Because the mountain is so high because of all the things we've swept under the rug. So for me, I think we need conflict resolution in the workplace, because I don't think our managers have the right language to communicate how to move forward.
No.
And employees don't either, right? And it's this tension that nobody wants to talk about. And so I'm really advocating for good communication skills, effective communication skills. And if we don't have those, then let's use our HR, partner with our HR or talent development, and make sure that everybody has the tools to use during these time periods instead of putting blinders on. That shouldn't be the go-to tool.
Can I tell you, I've worked with so many leaders that are afraid to say the hard thing. And I've worked with them on why they are afraid. And I think it still comes back to well, the employee is going to have a bad reaction. And I always, every time in that conversation say, well, they're going to have a bad reaction if you don't say anything too. So what advice would you give a leader who's just afraid to say the right thing, or afraid to say anything, honestly?
I sound like a broken record, Hebba, but it goes back to part of why I'm writing this book is because we have to restore trust in a broken workplace. There's a song by Drake called Trust Issues. All of us have trust issues to some degree.
I love Drake. That's for a separate, that's a separate side topic.
We all are experiencing these trust issues. And so as a manager, yes, but that's you're paid to be, you pay the cost to be the boss, right? That's why you're in that position. That's part of your job description, is to have the conversations with your team. Your team can't have them because they're not privy to some of the information that you have. But again, restoring humanity. How would you want someone to show up for you when a difficult decision has to be made? How would you want somebody to express that and articulate what that looks like, right? If your CEO comes in tomorrow and says, pack your stuff, you're out of here. You would have liked to have some leeway. We ask our employees to give at least a 2-week notice, right, on certain things. So why aren't we even providing that safety net to our, if you have a tough conversation, you know that you have to have it on Friday and you're giving it on Thursday, that gives nobody to prepare, right? And so again, how do we restore trust? We restore humanity. Put yourself back in the seat of that person that's the 9-to-5er. What would you have wanted your good manager to say to you? Even if it's a tough conversation, again, I always hold on to 2 things. Saying what you mean without saying it mean. You can say exactly what you mean and let people know. Give people the option, right? Give people a choice. We still have power of choice. You've given them the information, then they get to decide what the next best step is for them. And then the other thing is, Brene Brown, she said, being clear is kind, being unclear is unkind, right? So when we're clear about what the picture looks like and being honest about it, but saying, hey, we understand this is a tough time, but here are the actions that we're taking, right? And if you need any additional support, HR can be that next step for you, right?